All right, everybody, welcome back to the Honey Jam podcast. We are your hosts, Janice.
I'm Jessica.
And today's guest, I'm very nervous. I'm very, in a good way, in the best way, very excited and nervous because she is an old friend of ours, right, Jess?
Yes, we roomed with her our sophomore year. So our guest for today, she was a freshman. We were sophomores. We met at UCLA,
Mm-hmm.
and we happened to get connected to her through I think Janice's like mutual friend, and then we lived together for a year in the dorms, and it was literally the best year of our lives because we had
Mm.
so much fun together.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get straight into it. It is our very special guest, Kiju.
Kiju Lee.
Actually, not Lee anymore, is it?
My husband's last name is also Lee, so
Oh,
I
really?
had to change it.
He's
Yeah.
Korean?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
we,
Korean.
we have to get
Wow.
into a lot of things today because
Yeah.
we haven't talked to Kiju in like
Years.
years. Like almost
Yeah.
like I feel like 10 years. Like legit. After we
Yeah.
graduated, I feel like we didn't really we didn't stay connected for some reason. But we'll get into all of that. I do have a little bit of a spiel though to start off with.
Okay.
The reason this even happened, right? Like this whole reconnection is happening is because I happened to run into Kiju's Instagram page, which I didn't know about until recently. And Kiju basically, if I just want to introduce her a little bit, right? And then, Kiju, you can introduce yourself too. But
Okay.
Kiju, from what I know, is a software engineer, first of all, 9 to 5 software engineer. So, kicking butt in the tech world, making bank. And then on top of that, outside of her 9 to 5, she is building her own like home, like reconstructing. Is that what DIYing her home?
Renovating? DIY?
Renovating.
Yeah.
And she's using power tools that even men can't handle. But she's just like casually renovating her home in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
So the reason I like reconnected was because I saw her Instagram handle, and she's like kind of, a content creator too. And like I saw her renovating her home and like making these crazy upgrades to her home, and I was like, oh my god, this is Kiju from college. And I was just shocked that like we weren't connected on IG like before. So then I like instantly sent the reels that I saw to Jess. I was like, Jess, this is Kiju. This is our Kiju.
I
And
know.
so I was like, okay, we have to have her on the podcast.
Yes. I was shocked because like Kiju not only like is the content itself very interesting because she's like DIYing everything, she's like renovating her home. And by the way, Kiju, your home is so beautiful.
So
Everything
Thank
you've
you.
done, it's just it's phenomenal. So we really recommend, and we'll drop her handles at the end, so please check her out. It's really, really good, the content that she makes.
That's right.
But yeah, not only is like what she's doing is interesting, like she films it and edits it so well.
We stalked her a little bit.
Yes, yeah. And she does like short form and long form. So she's on YouTube, she's on Insta. Are you on TikTok too, Kiju?
No, not really. I
Okay.
created it, but I
So you're
suspended
mainly
it.
on
Yeah.
Insta and YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, she does both, long form, short form types of content, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's like
I mean, it's a
like-
production.
it's straight up a production, like the cinematography,
The acting.
dialogue, the acting. Like you guys just have to
I'm so
see
embarrassed.
Yeah.
it. No, Kiju, and like we were just like so blown away, and like Janice, I mean, you can kind of like get into. I mean, and we also want to give Kiju some time to introduce yourself, but we're just so excited because when we discovered your channel and your handle, we're just like so sucked into it because it was so good, And then
Yeah.
Janice was saying like, wow, Jess, I feel so like, what's the word? Like 자극받았어, which means like I feel very like motivated, very like, like I just feel like kind of energized right now by Kiju because, she's working during the day, she's content creating, she's building her home, and like I just like I feel so energized, you know?
So I felt energized, right? And then I also felt like, what the hell was I doing with my entire life for the past 9, 10 years? Because like Kiju was like renovator at home, Jessica had a baby, you know what I mean? So I was like, dang. So then that's when I started to decide, okay, I'm going to do Honey Jam to, 열심히. Okay, gotta work harder on Honey Jam.
And then thus you recruited Kiju.
Yes. And I was like, Kiju, we have to have you on the episode. Your story is inspiring. So please walk us through your life after college.
Can I introduce myself?
Oh, yes.
I was like, that's all I was thinking about this whole time. I was like, okay, what should I say? What should I say?
Oh.
I'm Kiju. I just turned 30.
Wow.
I only started renovating like 2 years ago when we bought this house. So Janice, you're saying like, oh, what have I been doing for the past 10 years? I don't know what I've been doing for the past 10 years either, but like more recently I've picked up these hobbies. And yeah, we roomed together 12 years ago.
Dang.
Which is crazy to think about.
That's insane.
Going way back to college, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but I was gonna be a dentist.
Yes.
Right?
And
I
I was very stressed
the,
about it.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And I did all my applications and everything. Got interviews. And then I was like, and I was working at the dental office at the same time.
Oh.
And I realized like I hate it. Like I'm miserable doing it. And you know, maybe it could be that particular office, but I just felt like it wasn't right for me. And like going to like look at people's mouths every day wasn't exciting for me. You know, for some people it is actually fun.
Yeah.
But for me, I was like, is this really what I want to do? And like put so much money into school again? So yeah, and then I decided to go into coding because that was the only thing for me that I could do that doesn't require me to go back to school, like 4 years of college. So I did a boot camp, and that's actually where I met my husband. He was also going through a career change, and yeah, okay, this is like a side story, but when I first saw him, he had a nose ring. He has a full sleeve. He's very
tattoo.
dark. Yeah, and like he has very like 진한 double eyelids. And so I was like, this guy. Yeah, I was like, this guy's for sure not Korean. But then he started talking to me in Korean, and I was like, oh wow, this Vietnamese guy is like, he knows how to speak Korean. So I was like pleasantly surprised.
Oh my gosh.
But I always just thought he was like a weird guy because he would just like, I mean, it's a really hard thing to do going to coding boot camp because I would stay there for like 16 hours straight. Like coding, like trying to learn, you know, as much as you can within the 3 months.
Wait, it was like in person or online?
Yeah, ours was in person. Yeah.
Wait, so, what year was this, Kiju? What year was this?
This was 2018, like January 2018. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So after I just declined all the dental schools and stuff, I was like, okay, what should I do? And then that's what I did. Anyways, he was like I felt like he was weird because he would always like sleep on the floor where it's like, you know, people are like walking by and I'm like, this guy's just like, he's weird. And then when I'm stressed, he'd be like, do you want to go get ice cream? So I thought he was like trying to be a good like older brother feel because he is so much older than me that I didn't think that it could be like anything more.
How old?
He is 85, so he's 9 years older than me.
Wow.
Yeah. 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he's very old.
I mean, that's my sister's age, so
that's crazy.
And guys, by the way, you know, last week our sister was our honey jam guest. Or my sister. My sister was
our sister.
But our sister too. Let's be real. Our ugly.
Yes.
Kiju actually went to my sister's wedding and she helped out too.
It was the three of us.
Yeah, but wow, he is like my sister's age. 85.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought he was your age.
He looked very young.
He doesn't seem that much older.
He doesn't look old, but I don't know if I'm supposed to feel pride or offended when I hear he looks your age because I'm like, the age gap is so wide that like it's so big that I'm like,
He looks young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks young. Just
Wow.
separate from
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
he looks young.
Yeah, it's just him. Yeah.
Yeah. So you thought of him as just 오빠 동생.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I thought he was just taking care of me.
Yeah.
But then he thought during this whole time, he thought I was also into him.
Oh.
Men have such confidence. I don't understand where it comes from.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I thought you were very weird, but I was just glad to have someone take me to buy ice cream, you know. And then he was very direct with me, which I liked, because you know, like, guys, I don't want to say that men are like immature, but I felt like in college everyone is never, you know, people are not direct, right?
Yeah.
So it was very refreshing that he was so direct. And then I remember telling my friend, I said, because you know, I haven't had a boyfriend before him, so I was like, if I don't date now, I'm gonna be single forever. So you know, I'm just gonna date him and I'm just gonna see how it goes. I'm just gonna date him for a month and then I'm gonna like break up with him, because I didn't really like him as like that much, I thought.
Wait, so did he ask you out first, or like how did you
Yeah,
decide?
yeah. And then
Also, that's what you're talking about. He was direct in that way. He was just like, hey, I like you. Okay.
Very straightforward. So I said okay, and then we started dating, thinking that it's only gonna last a month. And then like I realized, like, the reason why I also fell for him is because he seems so like tough on the outside, you know, like with the sleeve. He looks like a 나쁜 남자, like a bad boy.
Yeah.
But then the more I get to know him, I'm like, you are so soft. Like, you are so, he's just like a very kind, like
Sweetie.
sensitive person. And I feel like maybe that's why he like puts on this appearance of like Jose, which is what I thought it was. Because he wants like, he doesn't want to show like how like kind he is, maybe like in the men's world, maybe. I don't know. So I saw that and I was like, oh, he's a really good guy. And then and then we got married
After
2 years.
Oh.
2 years. 2 years.
So you thought you were just gonna, okay, I'll see how it goes. Like, you know, I never dated before. How about I just go for it? 1 month. I'll give him 1 month. And then
max,
you ended up marrying this guy.
Yeah.
Dang.
Your first boyfriend ever in life.
Yeah.
That's
meant to be.
I still can't believe he's Korean.
I Koreanified him a lot after we started dating, because before he looked more like Southeast Asian. I think now he looks more Korean. I got him the Korean pama, the glasses.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then how did you guys go to Texas? Or before Texas?
So we actually were doing long distance for a while, because I got my job first, but he was having a harder time finding a job.
Of course.
And so it's also like ageism, maybe, or it could be like tech industry is more favorable for women and female engineers, because we're not very common. So I think I kind of got swept up like soon after, but then for him it took a lot more time. So the first job offer he actually got was from Arkansas.
Wow.
And I was like, where is Arkansas on the map? Like, I really could not place that on the map. And that moment when he said he got the offer, like, I felt like, I mean, he should take it, you know, you just need to get your foot in the door and then it's going to be okay from then, you know? So I don't want to be the one to say, don't go.
And it was an in-person job in Arkansas.
This was before COVID. And then I felt like because this is before I knew I wanted to marry this guy, I was like, oh, I think this relationship is going to be over then. Because how can you like realistically do this like long distance relationship? So that's what I thought. But COVID happened. So he was there only for like maybe like a year, 6 months to a year sometime. So we were doing long distance. And then COVID happened and he became remote. So and then he was kind of like hinting like, oh, you should like, you know, come to Arkansas. And I was like, listen, I am not going to middle of nowhere Arkansas for a boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like hinting to him like, make your move. Like, are you going to ask me? And then I'll like think about it, but I'm not going to just go for like a boyfriend, right? So I got the forced proposal. It wasn't forced. Yeah, but,
he wanted
you know,
to.
he just needed that extra like.
He got the hint. He got the hint.
Yeah, right. Because I think he was waiting for the perfect moment where, you know, because, you know, he just got the job like a year ago, and like it takes time to like build and stuff. And so I think he felt like he wasn't ready. And I was like, it's fine. We can build things together.
Oh, build things together.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's how the journey began. But yeah, like, so I decided to move there. We got married, we got a dog, and things were good, but it just felt very like isolating because there aren't a lot of like Asians there generally, but also I think for me it was like mostly the food, like both of us, the food. And like I learned how to cook really not well, but I really learned how to cook while I was there because I had no other option. And then, yeah, like the markets, they're all like Oriental market. And like there was this confusing market called Asian Amigo. Like, are we talking about Asian food or is
Mexican?
it? Yeah. So,
interesting.
yeah. So it was very interesting. And then we were like, should we go back to? So now that we were both remote after COVID, we were like, should we go back to LA? But we were thinking, you know, now we're married, we have a dog. Like, it'd be nice to have a house with a yard, and like, if we have a family, like, it'd be nice if we had a house.
Yeah.
So we were thinking of our options, and we thought, let's go to like Dallas. Because Arkansas to Dallas is a 5-hour drive, and sometimes we would make that trek to go to H Mart to get our like ingredients for like a month or two.
Wow.
And like bring a big ice box and go back and forth. And so we were like, oh, like, so we've seen Dallas, and we're like, oh, it's very safe feeling, and this is like the suburbs of Dallas. So we were like, oh, we like it. So yeah, we moved.
How long did you live in Arkansas for?
So for me, it was only like just over a year. He was there for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, Kiju, did you get married in Arkansas too?
We never had a ceremony.
Oh, because it was like COVID.
It was like peak COVID, and I didn't think that I wanted one. I was rather like, with that money, let's buy the house eventually, like later.
So smart.
Yeah. You know, there's a bit of a like age gap between you and your husband. By the way, what's your husband's name?
Chang,
okay?
It's like Changwon, Lee Changwon.
Oh, Chang, and he goes by Chang. So there's a little bit of an age between you and Chang Shi. Chang Oppa.
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi. What did your parents think? Like, did they approve? Were they a little worried?
I
like,
know, I'm so curious.
how did that go? And how did you like tell them like, hey, I'm gonna get married to this oppa? Like, can you kind of delve into that a little bit?
Yeah. So I always had this confidence that my parents would trust me because I was like the oldest child. I always took care of everyone else.
Yes.
I always thought they respected me, right? Even though I'm a child, like their child.
Yeah.
And so I thought, if I tell them about him, like all about him and what I see in him, they'll approve. And they did not.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Because he's much older.
Yeah, it's a big age
like
gap.
The age gap too, but we were all like, she saw his picture and she was like, he doesn't even look Korean. And then she didn't like his tattoo. She thought, like, is he part of a gang? You know, like, and she's more conservative. My mom's very conservative Korean, so I think she had just such a negative impression of the tattoo. That was the thing that just struck her the most. And then because she started disliking him, everything else was a problem. And I also didn't like her. She didn't like the fact that he was just restarting a new career, you know? So there were a lot of like concerns and stuff. And that's even part of the reason why I didn't want to do the ceremony, because I knew that like I pulled the trigger. I just said, I'm leaving and I'm going to go to Arkansas. I'm going to marry him. That's my decision. So either you accept it or not. She had said, my mom has told me multiple times to like, you have to break up with him. Just date him, but don't marry him. And my dad is in Korea now, so he didn't have much of a say. But over the phone too, he didn't like the fact that he was so much older and like, so I just kind of pulled the trigger. I left, and my mom felt so betrayed, understandably. So it was very dramatic.
Ugh.
And they didn't even meet when
Mhm.
I married my husband.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Because
Yeah.
like
And
끝까지 they
then
were like against the
yeah,
marriage
they were
until the end.
against it. I mean, eventually when I told her I'm just gonna go to Arkansas, this is what I'm gonna do, she was kind of just, like she knew that she couldn't do anything about it,
Oh
but she
my
just
gosh.
still felt like, I don't know, she was very hurt
Of
maybe.
course.
But I made up my mind,
Yeah.
and I know I'm taking care of my life. Like no one can live my life for me. I know this is
Wow.
the right decision for me, so even my own parents can't sway me from that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, and but that didn't affect our relationship, like my husband and mine, like our relationship. But I always felt like, oh, it just doesn't feel right not having a
Yeah.
support from my family. And so eventually, like we went to LA and met with my mom, and the first like day that they were meeting, I was so anxious,
Yeah,
just
of
Of
like,
course.
and I was like, wear a long sleeve shirt, okay? Like, just don't show. I know she already knows, but just don't show her,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the first visit, like, we ate, we went to a park because we brought our dogs too, and then like I could see that she was like opening up, and then that night she was like, "Oh, 만나보니까 괜찮더라. 괜찮더라."
He's not so bad.
Yeah, he's not so bad. And we stayed like maybe 2-3 days, and the next day he wore a short sleeve because he's like, how much longer am I gonna, I can't hide this.
Oh wow.
This is who I
Dang.
am. Like we were both very brave. I don't know what it is,
Oh,
but we
yeah,
were like,
yeah.
either she's gonna accept me fully or not.
Wow.
And so having like showing this or not, like, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
So I remember like respecting that a lot from him too. And then, fast forward, I mean, even like right after that moment, after we left we went to go back to Arkansas, she called me and said like, "Oh, I think you made a good decision." Yeah. And then she would tell me like on the phone, like, I have 3 sons because I have 2 younger brothers, and now him. And when she calls him, like sometimes she would just call him directly, and she would say like "adir." Yeah. And my husband calls her just "엄마." And I really believe now, my mom is this person who can't BS. If she doesn't like you, she will show it on her face. She doesn't try to hide it, but she loves him. And every time we're on the phone, she's like, I wish your dad was like Changwon, like sweet and just like very thoughtful and caring. And of course it's because he's so good to me, and she sees that now, like especially over all of these years. Now we've been married almost 5 years next May.
Oh
So
my
she
gosh.
knows now. Like my husband is really a son to her.
I feel like a lot of our listeners can also resonate because this is such a like common theme, you know? Like Korean parents, especially the conservative Christian ones, because I know Kiju, your parents are like of faith. If they don't approve and they're set on it, it's like there's no turning back. It's just you got to make your decision, either obey them and okay, 그냥 lose and follow what your parents say, or choose your own path and destiny. And that's what you did, and it was the right decision, and she admitted it later on, and now they like love him like as if they were his own son. But I think that's crazy that like at such a young age, like you're able to have that kind of resolve. Because like for me, if I don't know, like if my parents were to say like, oh Anya, like don't do it, I would have been pretty like shook,
Yeah, for
I would have
sure.
been very uncertain about my decision. But like that just shows like what kind of man Chang is. Like you really knew he was the one, and that he was gonna take care of you, which is so powerful to me. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not surprised that Kiju like kind of made that decision for herself, because even since college, ever since we knew her, like Kiju, you've always been so like smart, and like you were always kind of sure of like your decisions, I think. So, and like very independent. So I'm not surprised that happened. Like for me, actually, that happened kind of to me, where like my friends and like my family was kind of against David. I totally just got shaken up. And then I was like, okay, then he's not the one. And I actually gave back the ring back to David. And so we didn't break up though. Like we went through counseling, and then after I realized, okay, I'm sure for myself. But then like in that kind of situation, I reacted completely, in a different way from you. But it's so 멋있어. It's very like, it's very Kiju of you
Yes.
to have like stuck through.
That is so crazy to me that you thought that I was like a person of resolve, especially in college, because I was the most insecure. I remember like crying to you guys, like, I'm
Mm,
so ugly. Do you remember that?
I do
yes,
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah, or like not just even about looks, but just I was always so unsure about everything I was
Mm,
doing. It's actually like I felt like God set this whole thing. Obviously, he set this whole thing up because I was at Cisco and my manager at the time. Oh, sorry, Cisco. I work for a company named Cisco. I was
mm-mm.
at work and my manager. We were still working in person, and I was debating like, okay, should I go to Arkansas? This whole like situation, I was debating it, and I was talking to her about it. And I usually never talk to, like managers and stuff about this stuff, but like she opened up to me. And so
Mm,
I also told her the situation. I was like, my mom is really against it. So is my
Oh
dad. Like, I don't
wow.
know what I should do, but I know he is like a good person for me. And she
mm,
said, she really gave me the push. She was like,
mm,
it's your life. And she said she is kind of the same way where she's the oldest and she has a younger sister. And she said like her sister always listened to her parents' opinions, and that mattered to her more than her own opinions. And you never want to
mm,
be someone like that, because
mm,
now she's at the age of 50, that sister, but she's still like being swayed by her parents about like, oh, the correct way of parenting, or it's always a
mm.
new thing. And
Yeah.
so she
Yeah.
said, it's like this whole Asian cultural aspect of listening to your parents and just obeying them no matter what blindly,
Mm,
but that's not correct, is what
Yeah.
she was telling me. And I that
mm.
gave me the final push to like commit fully to
I
him.
Yeah.
see.
I think there's a difference between like I don't know. I mean, people would say I'm wrong, but it's like you can honor and obey your parents in a way where you can like also set boundaries and like love them, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like sometimes even like setting boundaries is a way to like, keep your relationship healthy with them, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's what you did, Kiju, and that's why you guys are where you are now, you know?
Yeah. Hey friends, it's Janice and Jess here, and we're going to take a quick Honey Jammies break to talk about getting cozy this fall with Cozy Earth.
Yes, we love their stretch knit long sleeve pajama set. As a mom, these are my absolute favorite. When I'm finally getting some me time at night, I need something soft, breathable, and cute.
Yeah, and you look so good in them, Jess.
Oh, thanks, Janice.
They're perfect for staying comfy and looking put together. Let's not forget their luxe bath sheets. These towels legit feel like those towels at five-star hotels. They're so soft and absorbent, and you'll want to take an extra long shower just to use them.
Yes, a total game changer. I'm living in these pajamas and loving the towels.
So if you want to treat yourself this fall, head to cozyearth.com/honeyjam and use the code HONEYJAM for up to 40% off.
Whether it's the pajamas, towels, or even their bed sheets, you're gonna love Cozy Earth just as much as we do.
And when you get that post-purchase survey, don't forget to mention you heard about Cozy Earth from your favorite podcast, Honey Jam.
All right, Honey Jammies out.
I do remember those moments where you felt like insecure, and Jess and I were always so confused because we were like, dude, Kiju, you're so pretty, you're so smart.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I first saw your IG, and then I saw like you were married and like, you're living with these two beautiful dogs in this beautiful home. You seem like so much more like secure and like so happy, and you're just like smiling. And like, I remember you didn't like also like love being in front of the camera, but then seeing like your YouTube channel, you're like so comfortable and like, and I'm like, okay, she seems so much like happier and like more secure in who she is, and that made me like so proud too,
I met a therapist like last year, but through that, she was basically, the first question she asked me is like, why are you like seeking therapy? And I was like, well, it's because like before, when my life was tumultuous, everything was unsure and baseline was just very low. But now I'm like so happy that even a little bit of like issue that I have, like mostly like family intergenerational trauma stuff, like even that like bothers me now because I'm so happy now. And like I really think it's the power of a happy marriage and love, because I've never been happier in my life.
Oh my god.
Like after getting married, the way I look at myself, you know how it's like in like in a Christian sense, it's I know who I am because I know who you are. That's how I felt with my relationship with my husband. It's like because I because you love me no matter what, like I also can love myself.
I'm tearing up.
No, but it's just like I've never felt so secure. I am not as you said, I'm not the type of person to just like be in front of the camera or do anything like this. The reason why we weren't keeping in touch is also because I didn't do Instagram at all. I just didn't
That's
have,
why.
ever since college, like maybe my second sophomore year, I
Uh-huh.
deleted all like social media. Yeah. So I only started it, I had like a dog thing, but that's whatever. And then with this new channel, like I also didn't even like seek out like finding my old friends. It was just like I'm sharing, this is what I'm doing and I'm happy about it kind of thing.
Wow.
So yeah, but before that, and I didn't want to share. Now I'm like, look, like I'm happy. It's not like, hey, look how much fun I'm having. It's not like I'm showing off, but it's because I am happy that I could start sharing more about myself.
Kiju, Janice, and I, like, we had such a blast in college, especially like when we roomed.
It was so fun.
It was so fun, and like we like kind of like meshed well together because we're very similar. Like Kiju can speak Korean really well. She's obviously like so well spoken in English. She's, we all went to the same college, so like we 어느 정도 like worked hard and studied hard too. And like our humor code were like it was very similar, so we thought we were hilarious together. And I just remember like that one video where I'm just like on my desk and I'm like kimchi squatting and I'm singing like he is exalted, and Kiju is like in the bathroom like washing up and she's like singing along and like adding her ad libs, and Janice is like filming us. Like if you see that video, like that just kind of encapsulates like our dorm life together.
Aww.
And it was so it's like one of the best like core memories of my life in, back in college. And we just loved Kiju so much. And then like afterwards, like, Janice and I moved on to like living in apartments, and Kiju was still like in the dorm, right?
Yeah, because Kiju was a class younger than us.
Yes, she was a class younger than us. So she kind of naturally like hung out more with her class friends, and then naturally we just kind of like, did our own things. But Janice was like when we reconnected and we discovered Kiju, we obviously didn't know that you were like it was like a recent kind of like social media presence. But Janice was like, wait, and she was like so confused, and me too. I was like, how come? Because we never thought about it, like we only like connect with the people we do on Insta, but again, like we don't like seek out per se. And then we just realized like, how come we didn't connect with Kiju all this time? And then we were like thinking about it, and like obviously we're very like kind of sensitive, 소심한 people, so
overthinkers.
Like, do you think Kiju was mad at us? Like, did we do something to
oh my god, that's so
her?
Janice.
Yes, so Janice. And then she was like influencing me to think that way. And I was like, no, 아니야. Kiju would have told us. Like, and there was nothing happened,
Yeah, I was like, there really was nothing, but how come she never... Like, how come we never knew about her Instagram? And then, like, I actually shared your Instagram to other people too. And I even told David, my husband, about it. And he's like, dude, that's kind of weird that like, and Josh was saying that too, right? Like, how did like you guys not know about her Instagram? I was like,
yes,
I don't know.
Kenny, we're like, what happened?
Yeah, but then like, so we were waiting. I was waiting for Kiju's response when I sent it. Like, Kiju, what the heck? Long time no talk. We need to have you on the podcast. So I was like waiting very nervously for her response. I was like, maybe she'll respond with a, hey Janice, like, hey, I've moved on, and I'm like, I'm okay, I'm good, or something like that. Like, I don't want to be friends with you. I don't know. But then she responded with such, like, just warmth. The same Kiju. So I was like, oh, thank God she doesn't hate us or something.
I really had nothing, but like good memories of living together.
We did have a lot of good memories, but I do remember Kiju, feeling... I could tell that she was going through a lot of like emotions and thoughts internally that she couldn't really like, really articulate or like talk to us about.
I think college was a time where like there was so much uncertainty in Kiju's life, and like she didn't really know how to handle that kind of like emotion. And then on top of that, I think she was really the rock of her family. I remember you were so responsible, like you were always there for your parents and your brothers. And I think like that kind of paradox where you had to be like the stability, like the rock for your family, versus like being in such an uncertain state, like gave you a lot of anxiety.
But I do feel like we provided a space where Kiju could just be like
Her
whatever
silly
she
self,
wanted.
her
Yeah.
silly freshman
so-
self.
Yeah,
And
that
then like
was so
we would
fun.
just say like the stupidest jokes and just crack about nothing, you know?
Do you remember we had like a quote wall?
Of
like,
course.
all the
Yes.
weird things. I forgot what are the. What,
You
were
made
some-
that wall. Like, can you
I think
explain
so.
what that was?
Go to sack. Go to sack.
Go to sack.
Go to
That
sack.
was Janice's quote.
Oh.
But wait, yeah, no. I remember we were walking down from like on Bruin Walk, and Janice had to go to SAC, which is our student activity center.
Yeah, student activity
but
center.
to print something. But you were like not leaving. You were just keep talking, and like I know you were gonna be late, so I was like, Janice, go to SAC, and then that became like a quote. Yeah, but there are so many good ones. A lot of them were from Jessica.
Yeah, a lot of quotes from
Yeah.
Jess. Like there was another one where she said, it was like we thought it was so profound. She said like every joke has a kernel of truth. You know, I don't know why, like a popcorn kernel.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's a little bit of
Yeah.
a truth to every joke, and we were like,
Yeah.
dude, that's so true.
It's going on the quote wall.
Yeah. So then Kiju like built this because there were so many like reoccurring sayings that we would
맞아.
share that like so Kiju like literally took up a part of our wall in our room and she like wrote like quote wall or something like that, right? And
Something
then,
like that.
wrote all of our quotes and like stuck it. It was just like I remember coming in, we were like, "What is this, Kiju?" And we were like amazed because it was so creative and fun.
It was a relic of all our
times.
like
Yes,
memories, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
I remember like we would laugh so much, right? Like I would be when I was out and like not in the room and it was just Kiju and Jess, they would just send me videos of them just cracking up with the two of them about nothing. And then just so I could feel FOMO. So I'm like, I'm coming, guys, I'm coming. Don't laugh without me. And I like would like run to the dorm because they're just having the time of their lives without me.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get any complaints.
I know.
Oh yeah, we didn't.
Because we were
yeah.
really loud.
We've had like, because I don't know if you know Kiju, like we had like drama our senior year, and then our junior year, like we were like rooming with like two other like KCCC, our other good friends, but they're kind of in a different group too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like with Kiju, like we were with each other like 24/7. You know, like
Yeah.
besides classes, you know, like we were in KCM together, we were rooming together, we would wake up, see each other, like eat breakfast. You know, like we were literally like inseparable.
And we also like walked together in like our journey of our faith. Like I feel like our faith really strengthened that year because thanks to Kiju too, we started like a daily Bible reading like challenge. Remember?
We did something
Yes.
like that.
And then we like literally stuck like a clipboard onto the wall, and then every day it's like not forced. Like if you want to, and if you were blessed, write what verse and like chapter you read of the Bible that day. And I remember just being like feeling so like it was a holy time as well.
Yeah, and I remember Kiju, like she would like pray for us to like wrap up our like session sometimes.
Oh my legendary prayers.
Yes, and
기억이 안 나.
Kiju like actually went to a Korean church during that time.
Yeah.
So like her prayers were in Korean, even though
Yeah.
like she's obviously like very comfortable in English.
So eloquent.
And like Korean prayers are very hard because like it has kind of like a I don't know, like reverential like tone to it, like and it's
there's
like
a different vocabulary.
different vocabulary, like different type of honorifics when you're like referring to God and like when you're praying.
Yeah.
But Kiju was so eloquent, like even in prayer, like we were so blown away, like when we heard her pray in Korean.
I'm like,
I
dude,
just remember like praying for Janice one day, and I was like, "Oh, Janice를 불쌍히 여겨주시옵소서," and then Janice was like, "불쌍히."
Dude, I was like, Kiju prays better than my freaking parents, like, oh my
I don't know
god.
how to pray like that anymore. It's been a long time. Yeah. I remember the day we got close. Let's go back to when I first joined. Like when Janice texted me, like, "Oh, hey, I heard you're going to UCLA. Like, do you want to be a roommate?" I was like, I remember because we went to the same high school, but we never talked to each other.
Yeah.
I just knew who she was. And then when she asked me, I was like, "Oh, it's better than like finding somebody like being random." So I was like, "Oh, of course, like thank you." And then I remember like that first day, like I read so much, and before that too, I read so many blogs about like, oh, if you're gonna like first day of like the day when you move into your dorms, like make sure you get there first thing and get the lowest bunk and get that chair next. Like I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And then after that, like after we got close, I was like, man, like why did I do that? Because I remember feeling like, because you guys are older than me, but I didn't really think of it that way, because you guys are basically strangers to me. So I was like, I'm just gonna get the best bed and like the best whatever. But yeah, looking back, I'm like oh, like 되게 밉상이었겠다. Like,
no, I don't remember that.
I don't remember that
no,
either.
and then we were like, let's switch it up. But then we just ended up keeping, right? I think we just ended up keeping it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because me and Janice, we were at the top bunk and you were the bottom one. Yeah. I remember that.
And like sometimes I would like put a bed sheet and I'd just like make it a curtain.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I'm praying, guys. And then, like, in my no, but the moment we got close was when Janice, like this was before we were just friendly, but we didn't really like know each other. But Janice invited the three of us to her house for a sleepover. I think for you, Jessica, that was also your first time like sleeping over. And then that night we just had so much fun. And I remember my cackle coming out, like my laugh. And then after that day, we were like way more comfortable. And because we realized like our humor is very similar. Yeah.
Sometimes you just need a good slumber party or sleepover,
wow, Janice, 역시.
I brought this group together.
You brought us
You
together.
really did.
So Kiju, how did you, like kind of shifting gears a little bit, how did you get into like home building? You know, like Janice kind of touched upon this, but you're like using power tools. You're wearing like a legit like mask with like the filters.
I've
and, like,
never seen that kind of equipment in my life.
Like, and it's not just like, you know, DIY, like let's paint whatever, you know. It's not that. It's
why
like,
did your voice do that?
let's paint whatever. Not like that. But like she's making like a new pantry door, like she's making, I don't know, like
adding, I don't even know what the words are, you know?
Yes,
like
I know. I'm so
stuff to the wall.
Like she's legit like renovating, you know, things that you would pay a contractor to do.
Yes.
You know? How did you get into this?
I think I always loved interior designing.
Oh.
But it's just, I remember as a kid, I told my parents like, oh, I think that's what I want to be when I grow up. And then someone told me, maybe it wasn't my parents, but someone else, but someone told me, oh, you're not going to make a lot of money as an interior designer. And I was like, okay, well then that's out the door. Because for me, even at that young age, I was like, oh, making money is important to me and to my family. And so that was just always in the back burner. But also like when we were living in the dorms or, you know, in an apartment, you can't really do much, right? So I never really like attempted anything. And then when we first bought like our first home, it was like now this is my world. Like I can do whatever I want. I can, you know, punch holes. I can do whatever. But my dream was not that I would do it. I wanted my husband to do it. So he's very handy. So we bought a new build. So it's just brand new from the construction, but it's like very like bare bones, like nothing custom about it. And I remember telling him like, once this build is finished, like you're going to do so many projects for me, you know, because you. And he was like, okay, yeah, like, let's do it. Like, he was so confident. And then, you know, like weeks went by and like months went by and he wasn't doing anything because he was so busy. And, you know, I just kind of got tired of waiting for him. So I just was like, okay, I'm going to start.
Wow.
But I needed him to just show me the basics. So like my very first project was, we have like kitchen cabinets that didn't have any like handles. And so just using a drill for the first time, and he would like show me how to do it. And I was so scared. I remember being like, oh my God. And I'm like screaming and like drilling. And then I just like had a project in mind. So I would do all the research for what kind of project I want to do. And I would tell it to my husband, and he would tell me what tools I will need. And then he buys the tool for me. He's a very good researcher. One of my like favorite qualities about him. And so he would research all these things for me, make my life easier, and then like tell me what I'm going to do. And then like he bought me all these like saws
Wow.
And he would show me how to use them, and then I'll take it from there and, you know, start doing something else. And so like now we have like a garage full of tools because each project kind of requires its own thing. So we ended up just continuously like accumulating more and more. And then like now he really has no idea what tools we have. Like he doesn't know how to use anything in the garage anymore. But I like it so much because it's very empowering, you know, because as you said, like you don't really expect a woman, and especially like an Asian woman, to pick up power tools and stuff. Even when I see DIY content creators on like Instagram, there are women, but majority of them are white women. You know, you don't see a lot of Asian women
That's
like
true.
picking up tools and stuff. So
you're right.
yeah, so I like, even though there were days where I was like, oh, this is too hard, like I don't want to do it, I was like, you know, but I should start like this new trend of like Asian women. I should start sharing this. This was before I even started sharing. So I was like, you know, I should continue doing this so that I can eventually like have the skills to share it with other people. So like that's how it started. But in the beginning, I was like terrified. Yeah.
When I was watching, I was just like, I don't know if I'll ever, you know, maybe one day if I like move into my new home in California. By the way, Kiju, it's so expensive here.
Yeah.
So expensive. Impossible.
Yeah, like I've never been like one to design and like have an eye for things, let alone build stuff, you know, for my home.
Yeah.
But when I see your videos, like it kind of like it like ignites something in me, you know, like
Yeah.
I want to do something, maybe not building per se, but like, you know, just like be creative and like do
Yes.
something for myself, which I think is like the 매력, the charm of your videos. Like it's really inspiring.
And not to mention the script, like
Yes.
on your YouTube channel, like the script is so well written. It's like a beautiful story. And I actually have a question for you, Kiju. So like, you know, we talked about you're doing DIY, you're working, you have 2 dogs, you have a beautiful house, you have a husband, you know, you're reading the Bible every day, you're working out, and you're painting. You have like so many hobbies and like, you know, so many things that make your life so like rich and all these things, right? But they all require so much time. So how do you juggle everything?
That is something I'm still figuring out. Yeah. And I think when I was first doing Instagram, I was really burnt out because I thought like I have to post like almost every day. If it's like a fashion content creator, then I just buy, wear, and like show it off in front of the camera. But my content requires me to actually build the whole damn thing first, which takes so long. And then I have to like edit and, you know, like all that. So I was like, how do I can't do this. And so I took this long hiatus from Instagram, and I realized like, I don't only want to just like do Instagram, you know, like I kind of thought about the purpose behind it, and I think it wasn't enough to like share my story. Basically, all of my hobbies, it's to be creative. Like that's my biggest hobby. I love doing like producing things, right? So I felt that if I am at least producing in like any of these fields, then I will feel like satisfied. Like I am doing what I love. Even if it's like, even if I skip on doing art for even a month, but I'm like doing other, like storytelling is like a form of art that like is, you know, then it still makes me feel good, you know? So like I realized I don't have to do all of these things at once. I just want to do one at a time and like be kinder to myself, right? So like I really don't do all of those things every day, but I do prioritize like reading the Bible and exercising, either running, or I built a home gym. So the home gym.
Yeah, you're like lifting weights and stuff, right?
Yeah, as long as I'm like sharing and producing something from my heart in one form or another, I feel fulfilled.
Wow.
So
I mean, you guys, like to our listeners, like please check out Kiju's Instagram and YouTube channel. You will not be disappointed. Like especially your videos on YouTube, Kiju. Like some of them like went pretty viral, right? You got a lot of
Mhm.
views on some of them.
One was like surprising. One was like surprisingly good. Like the
Yeah.
views.
Yes,
Yeah.
You had a quite a
Mm.
view count on that one. I watched that
Mm.
one too. Like, please check her out. Her handles are same Homeleebuild. Just
Lee,
one word.
Lee.
Homeleebuild. It's so good.
Mm.
And Kiju is like, she has that sense, you know,
Mhm.
like the way she like captures and story tells, and like just goes about her day being creative. Like, her intention, and
Mhm.
like there's such a completeness to her work. Like, it's very, very like high quality stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
very high quality. I think
Yeah.
Thank
like Kiju,
you.
if she decided to like be a producer or director, like anything, any job, right? I think she would have excelled at because she's such a
Yes.
hard worker. No, I'm serious.
Seriously. I just feel like now too, like, of course, like you're juggling a lot of stuff and like being creating, doing what you love, but like there's a sort of like peace in your life that I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah. A
Mm.
calmness.
Yes, like such contentment.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
I don't know, like I'm like so happy for you, Kiju.
Yeah.
Thank
You
you.
know, like it's I can
Yeah.
truly like sense that you're not doing this out of like yokshim, whereas
Mm-hmm.
for us, we're like doing
Mm.
podcasts and like creating content because we want to get famous and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
But then like there's a little bit of yokshim and him into like what we do, and like I'm always thinking like, how can we get like a viral video?
Viral
But
video. Mhm.
like
Mm.
but all jokes aside, like for you, like I really don't get that sense, you know, like
Yeah.
you're simply just trying to be creative, do
Yes.
like share what you like to do, and like
Mhm.
like also just be a good influence to others. So
Yeah.
like
Thank
I
you.
sense that, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, like I'm so proud of you. We're so
We're
proud
so
of you,
proud of you.
Kiju.
Yeah.
I wasn't always like that though.
What
When
do
I
you mean?
first started Instagram, I was like,
Mm.
I'm going to get famous and I'm gonna get
There
I'm
it
gonna
is.
get
There it is.
rich.
You're rich.
Like side money, like side hustle.
Uh-huh.
And then that, I told you I got burnt out. But that
Mm-mm-mm.
also quickly like made me like when I got burnt out, I was like, why am I doing this?
Mm.
Mm.
Do I really want like fame? Do I really want money? And I really thought about those two, and I realized I thought I wanted it, but I
Mhm.
don't.
Mhm.
Because
Mm.
when you kind of start, as you guys, I saw you guys get your first what is it, brand
Ad.
partnership thing,
Yeah.
ad. Yeah, like when those start coming in, I'm like, my eyes kind of like opened, and I was like, oh my god, like all this, like all these sponsorship partnerships.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I felt like I was selling my soul
Mm.
because I'm not producing something that I want to. I have to match what's paying me, and
Yeah.
I felt very unhappy with it.
Mm.
So I quickly just like realized, okay, so this is not the path for me. And when my husband ever like talks about the money side of all of this, I'm like, you can that's on you.
Mhm.
I just want to do the art. I just want to create.
You do the
But
business.
you can do the business. I want to do what I want to do.
Dude, that's the
Like,
best.
yeah.
That's what
Oh.
will keep you, lasting very long. I feel like Jess and I will burn out next month.
I'm burned out as we speak.
Okay, Kiju, do you know about our Kangju corner?
You told me yes.
Okay,
Couch
so
corner.
now that we've love bombed Kiju, it's time for Kangju. Okay, so Kiju, what is your Kangju of the week?
This might be like a little like atypical for this
love
corner.
It. We love
Love
it.
But I recommend don't judge, okay?
Okay.
I recommend running.
God.
Wait, hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Continue.
I am like I told you I was one of the least athletic. I love my sedentary lifestyle. Like I just avoid like Janice. I remember was like so active, like recording and all that stuff, like hiking or whatever. I'm like, I just like to like lounge and like read a book or something. But then we recently started running, and I think it's such a good couples activity. Like husband and wife running side by side, and like building. I'm all about building, okay? But like you're building like your endurance together, but like you as you get a little bit better, you can also talk during the runs. Because in the beginning I was just like dying, but now we can like have a normal conversation while running. And also when you're traveling, it's like the best way to travel, because I think the best way to see like a new city is by foot, right? But like when you're actually walking, it's so boring. Like it gets really boring, and it's just so long. But like we tried this on our like month trip to Europe, and we're just like running through all the new cities.
Wow.
And it was like the best tour of the city ever. You know, like you're seeing things, but you can also stop and take pictures. You know, like you're doing your own pace. I don't know. It was just like so refreshing to see these new things while running through the areas.
That's a great come-to. No, that's a great come-to. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever heed that come-to because I'm like, running is very intimidating to me because it's like always like so hard, you know, like that initial like push that you have to get through to like be at a good pace and like jog through it. Like I hate that feeling, but maybe I have to travel and like start running somewhere beautiful to feel that thrill.
I was gonna say, like, I hate running so much. But when you're like traveling, it's kind of hard to work out. So I feel like running is the best form of an exercise when you're traveling. I'm actually going to Japan, Kiju, next Monday.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So maybe I'll shoot your kanchu there in Japan.
Yeah.
Other than that, hell no. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, running is good for you though.
That was such a refreshing conversation. I'm glad we got to reconnect like this and keep doing what you're doing, Kiju, and be that Asian, you know, empowering presence builder on Instagram and YouTube. And, you know, we'll keep rooting you on and always, you know, praying for you and supporting you in some way. But again, we're so happy for you. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on Honey Jam. We really appreciate it. But we hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Follow us on Honey Jam Pod on Instagram, and you know we're on Apple, Spotify. Listen to us there, or you can even see us on YouTube.
And follow Homeleebuild.
Like and subscribe.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.